Welcome to La Junquera. Today we have a climate farm demo day, and we had a nice group of people, farmers from about 100 kilometers around, and gave a good session about the ecoregímenes and how it works and how to implement them.
In this demo, we showcase different measures that are mitigating and adapting to climate change, and at the same time, they're part of the eco schemes of the CAP policy. In Murcia region, we have 6 different categories of land where you can get these eco schemes for. So you have the dryland arable land, irrigated arable land, tree crops, again irrigated and dryland, and pasture, irrigated and dryland. So that are the 6 land categories that we can choose then 2 different eco schemes for each of these categories. Here in the Altiplano from Murcia, most farmers have tree crops such as pistachios, almonds and vineyards. For the tree crops, the 2 practices that are supported by the eco schemes are the vegetation strips and mulching with the pruning residues. Both practices are very important to increase your carbon in the soil. Something that you should consider when implementing these practices, especially with the ground covers, is that we are in a semi-arid climate. So the ground covers do sometimes compete with the trees. So in dry years it can compete for water. And therefore what we do at this farm is that we till just around the trees. So we make sure that there's no competition in these dry years, and we always leave the strip in the middle. The vegetation covers, you can have them seeded. So when we see them, normally we have a mix of legumes and grains. Otherwise, if we don't want to seed every year, we just leave spontaneous vegetation. So both the spontaneous and the seeded ground cover are valid for the eco scheme. So when we talk about eco schemes for the cereals, on this farm we use 2 different eco schemes. The first one is rotation. In the past, in this area, the rotation of the grains, it was only a grain rotation with a gap year, so a year where they would just rest the land. And now, in order to protect and improve the land, we include legumes in the rotation. So currently at the farm we have a 4-year rotation. The first one we have wheat, then the second year we have rye, then we have oats, and at the last year we include veg and bitter veg as our legume. And this way the field is always covered. And because it's always covered, we don't lose our soils. And the second measure that we use on the farm is to leave biodiversity islands. So the eco scheme says that for dryland fields, you have to leave 7% of your field for biodiversity. If you are irrigated, it's 4% of your land. And what we do at this farm is that we add extra measures that help in the soil functioning. So here we add swales, and we had a hedge underneath the swales. So we have a spot where we have indeed all the biodiversity coming because there's this hedge, a spot where we stop erosion, and a stop place where we accumulate water. Then for the last category, which is the pastures, here again you have 2 eco schemes that you can choose. The first one is to have extensive grazing on your pasture land. Within Murcia is to have your animals 90 days on your extensive pasture land. Then the other practice that you can do is sustainable cutting of your pasture, which means that you harvest less than you can do, or you leave 7% completely on harvest of your parcel, or you cut 1 time less than you used to cut your pasture. These 2 measures, what they're helping is that you leave more biomass into your field. So again, this increases your carbon in the topsoil, and with doing extensive grazing on your pasture is to speed up again this process of getting the biomass into absorbable carbon for your soils. Thanks to this Climate Farm demo event, we have been showcasing all the different eco schemes that are available for this area and showing how they help to mitigate and adapt to climate change, and also that it is possible to implement them in a semi-arid climate without compromising your production. One of the key aspects of this demonstration is that there is space for the farmers to interact and exchange knowledge on all these different practices.
We think this was important because people are a bit skeptical about how to apply them, and since we have quite a bit of experience in the last years, we feel comfortable sharing our experience, and so more and more people join in applying these practices.